Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of We Empower. I'm thrilled to have you all with us today, and I hope you're ready for an empowering journey ahead. I know that since our last show, a lot has happened in our lives. From personal achievements to professional challenges, each day has presented its own set of opportunities and obstacles. But fear not, because today we're going to take a moment to reflect on the past week together. Over the past few days, we've received numerous messages again from listeners like you seeking guidance and support for both the professional and personal lives. I want you to know that we hear you and we're here to help. Whether it's navigating the complexities of the workplace or finding balance in your everyday life, we are committed to providing you with the tools and resources you need to thrive. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired. Together, we will tackle challenges, celebrate victories, and empower each other to reach new heights. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're in this together, and together we can achieve anything. Let's make today count. In today's episode, we'll be diving into some highlights from the past week and sharing what you can look forward to the next 60 minutes. We start by recapping a few standout moments from the previous week before treating you to a song that hints intriguing personality of our special guest for today. So stay tuned to hear why this song was chosen by our guest herself. Joining us today is Valerie Zu Rhein, who will be sharing insights and stories with us. So following that, I will introduce you to an inspiring book, and to wrap things up, we'll open the floor to questions. So let's dive into some highlights of the past week. Morena's landslide win threatens Mexico's future. On June 3rd, Claudia Sheinbaum celebrated a historic victory at Zocalo Square in Mexico City, marking her Mexico's first female president. The election on June 2nd saw Sheinbaum and the ruling party Morena securing an unprecedented level of power not seen since the day of the Institutional Revolutionary Party. For 7 decades, PRI rule was synonymous with corruption, inequality, and political repression until Mexico transitioned to a more democratic system in 2000. Now, Morena's dominance raises concerns of a return to one-party rule. Sheinbaum's victory was expected, given her consistent 20-point lead in this polls and the strong backing of outgoing President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. However, few anticipated Morena's overwhelming success. The party and its coalition allies are set to control between 346 and 380 of the 500 seats in the lower house, granting them the power to amend the constitution. In the upper house, they hold at least 82 of 180 and 128 seats, like the states, and hold supermajorities in at least 20 state congresses. With such concentrated power, the nation's direction now depends heavily on Sheinbaum's political courage to maintain democratic principles and avoid the pitfalls of the past. Remembering June Mendoza, Britain's prolific portrait painter. June Mendoza, Britain's most prolific portrait painter, passed away on May 15th at the age of 99. Her illustrious career spanned several decades and saw her capturing the likenesses of some of the most notable figures in British society, as well as ordinary people she encountered in daily life. Known her for keen eye and deft hand, Mendoza's work included portraits of royalty, politicians, musicians, sports personalities, and more. Mendoza's talent was recognized early, and her reputation grew as she painted prominent figures such as 3 Prince Philips, 2 Princess Anne's, 3 Prince Charles, 2 Prince Diana's, and 5 portraits of Queen Elizabeth II. Despite her work with the elite, Mendoza maintained a commitment to painting pickups, in which she found intriguing in everyday settings like restaurants, theaters, and shops. These spontaneous subjects often found themselves surprised, but were usually willing to sit for her, contributing to a rich and varied portfolio that celebrated both the renowned and the ordinary. Her ability to blend the grandeur of her high-profile subjects with the intimate charm of her everyday sitters make Mendoza a unique and beloved figure in the art world. Her legacy continues to inspire and remind us the power of portraiture to capture the essence of human experience. And last but not least, can the rich world escape its baby crisis? We already talked about this last week. Governments and wealthy nations are pouring resources into encouraging higher birth rates to avoid the demographic catastrophe for them. 3 decades ago, East Asian countries celebrated the reduction of birth rates, a move that initially seemed like a triumph. In South Korea, for instance, the average number of children per woman dropped from 4.5 in the 1970s to 1.7 by the 1990s. However, this decline continued, leading to today's crisis, where a South Korean woman is expected to have only 0.7 children on average. Since 2006, the South Korean government has spent around 270 billion, over 1% of its GDP annually. Wow, what a number! On incentives to boost birth rates. These measures include tax breaks for parents, enhanced maternity care, and even state-sponsored dating services. Despite these efforts, the challenges remains. It has proven far more difficult to increase birth rates than it was to reduce them. Policymakers are now desperate to recover some of these missing births, as the implications of a shrinking population could be severe for the economy and society. What a great, great song. And I think it's a song most of you know. And it's really great because it's the first time that a song's name has a song of our great guest, Valerie, the song of Amy Winehouse. And Valerie, you are here with me today. Thank you so much for making it happen that we could have you here in our radio show and our show here, for being here with us. You started a great, great song, Valerie. In 2007, Amy Winehouse was still promoting her hit sophomore album Back to Black when she unexpectedly found success again. And this song is a marker of that. Mark Ronson, the producer behind her breakout album, recruited Winehouse to provide vocals on a track for his album version. The original Valerie was written by Dave McCabe, the lead vocalist and guitarist of indie rock outfit the Zootons. So the band released their debut album, Who Killed the Zootons? And interestingly, it is about a kind of love song, they said. This song, Valerie, marked a really high, a really rocket time, you could say, and a great successful time of Amy, who died then on July 23rd, 2011, of alcohol poisoning at her London's home. She was 27, although Valerie reminds us of the caliber of talent lost with Winehouse passing. And it also represents 3 immensely talented and creative minds, and it represents also somebody who's here today with me, Valerie Zu Rhein. So, well, sometimes I go out by myself. Valerie, what does this song mean to you? You told me that you sorted this song out because you played it while you were in a special situations. Could you share this with us?
Sure. Hi, Anabel. Thank you so much for having me today. So actually, I've had a long history with that song. It all started with a very old MP3 player, and my parents used to give it to me, and this MP3 player was only full of Amy Winehouse songs, so nothing else on it.
And from whom was it?
From my parents. It was a
Oh,
gift.
great. Wow.
Yeah. And so whenever I would go to a tournament, especially, I mean, I did do a lot of sports, different kind of sports, but especially Kung Fu. I would sit down before any fight or before any bigger challenge and actually listen to those songs, and mostly Valerie. So it would really put me into some kind of not meditative state, but really a focused state. Yeah.
This is great. And as Valerie, does it mean more to you, the song from the text, or is it more the melody which put you in this, in this mood?
I mean, to be fair, given that it's my name, that already helps a lot. Especially as a kid, I did not really think about the text. Yeah, I mean, I barely understood English, so it was more about the melody and the mood,
Mm.
and just oh, there's a song about me, you know. So that's what's behind it.
How old were you when you started listening to the song?
Oh, probably, I don't know, 9,
Oh,
10,
wow.
something about that.
So
Mhm.
it's really a long journey. This song is following you and staying next to you, right?
Yeah, it has
Mm.
been, that's true. And whenever I hear it, I just get back into those situations. I think about, yeah,
Right.
mostly challenging the situations because something would happen then
Yeah.
at a tournament, but also very rewarding.
Is it more like emotion which comes to you then, or is it also that you get pictures from the past when you listen to this song from your tournament times?
Both, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just get not flashbacks, that would be too much, but yeah, thinking about those old times and
Yeah.
getting back into that situation that happens regularly.
I
Yeah.
hope it's good feelings which come back to you.
Of course. I mean, there have been plenty of different situations. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to study in the UK, for example, in
Yeah.
Birmingham. And when I was at the sailing club there, the first time I entered, everyone just out of nowhere started singing Valerie. So I also have that kind of memories. It's not just sports bound. So yeah, get different, lots of different experiences.
Interesting, very interesting. So now I have to give a warm official welcome to Valerie besides the song. Great that you're here with us. And Valerie holds a Master of Science in Public Health and a bachelor degree in Political Science and Philosophy. So professionally, you have been the regional director of Southern Germany at the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award Germany since January 2023. And you are also working independently as a political education consultant, and we will touch both later on. You have been volunteering for many years with the Malteser youth, and you have been active in various youth organizations as well as in social entrepreneurship on your own. From 2011 to 2017, you were a world, European, and German champion in Kung Fu and achieved the first Dan, which is, I think, the highest you can achieve there. Your sporting successes, including fencing, led to appearances on several talk shows, including Checker Julian and Ben versus Jazz, Tiger Entenclub. So some of the Germans who will listen to us, that will ring a bell, definitely. TV Total or Gottschalk Live. So I would like to step first into your nowadays engagement. What brought you to the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award? So what do you particularly appreciate there? Can you please share an incident that particularly moved you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing is, in Germany, it's not as famous as, for example, in the UK. So the first thing was actually that I just saw their job application. That's how I found the organization very unromantically.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, when I started to dig into what is the Duke Award doing also in Germany, I suddenly got so convinced about it because there's a slogan
Mm,
we do have, you can do more than you think.
mm,
That is from Kurt Hahn, our founder. He is actually German, was German. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's it. Because the Duke Award gives young people who might not have parents that support
mm,
them in everything the chance to find new talents and to really dig out like what they're interested into. And that really much reminded me of my parents because they would go yeah, they would do everything they could that I could try out new sports, that I would do some volunteering, that would drive me everywhere. And
yeah.
obviously, this is very privileged. And so I saw this program, was like, oh, this is like my parents, but just as a framework
Oh,
for
this is
everyone.
great. This is great. I like that very much, and I wish that everybody could sing that. These are my parents, and these are so great words because I think the background is that Prince Philip's was impressed by the work of Kurt Hahn, and who's a little bit into further education. Further education of the 20th knows that there was a movement in Germany where education was something where it got centered to the child, centered to that what abilities, competencies, and skills are already in every child from the beginning. And it changed completely the view on that, and gave us a brilliant, groundbreaking idea of how education could be in a way that you get out of this future shapers, not just followers, not just people who could work in a production and follow the instructions, but people who move out into the world, make the world a better place, and think in a holistic thinking way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You summed it up pretty well. Yeah.
And I have to be honest, I was impressed when I first wrote about the rails of the Duke of Edinburgh, and thought, oh my God, I wished this could be something each kid could profitize from that. Because I know so many kids which are starving and really feeling hungry of getting something of that, and would be so thankful to get a tiny little piece of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the UK, about 30% of the young people are participating in the award. That are numbers that we are not even close to in Germany, but that is
Yes.
our mission, to give every child in the long run the opportunity to really profit from the award, to get new competencies, to change their lives, because they now know where they want to go. They get out of poverty, maybe even because they now want to go to school, get their degree. So it can be really a life-changing experience that we're trying and we're growing to offer to everyone in Germany.
Do you have, maybe before our first commercial break, a small story you can share with us, maybe from one kid who profited from that, and where you could share with us the before and after, or what it made with the kid?
Sure. I mean, you have those two different kind of stories. You have those who are private schools and
Yeah,
also need the award because they never
yeah,
get that kind of self-efficacy
yeah.
that they would need, because the parents are so much onto career and everything. But you also have the young people in Germany with a migrant background, for example, who
Mm,
don't believe in themselves, who have
mm,
school, don't understand a word of German, maybe. And that's where we see the biggest impact, because they suddenly
right.
start looking outside of the box and are like, oh my God, someone's believing in me.
Yeah.
And we have plenty of those stories where they then actually start getting better grades and really enjoy school. And yeah, that's just very rewarding to see.
So, Valerie, we've already started talking about you, and I'm already a fan of you with everything what you're doing and what you're moving also. We talked before the break about your role at the Duke of Edinburgh and about the idea behind. And also about that it doesn't mean that wealth environment means that it's also an environment which introduces you in social and things like this. And this is a gift to have this chance to grow up in an environment where you get this. You said you had parents who supported you in a way, and this is great. On the other hand, it's also it is your power who have made that. It is your engagement. It's your responsibility. And you advocate for political education. What I like very much that you're involved in this, because it's often a lack of information. If you ask a youth about who's the chancellor of Germany, oh, I don't know, maybe Merkel. So it is really, there's a big gap. And what exactly do you aim to convey, and how do you perceive the interest and knowledge of the participants? Can you please share an incident that particularly moved you, maybe, or some background information?
Sure. I mean, to begin with, I'm lucky that I'm just very interested in politics and very curious about, and that's what sparked me, especially when I studied public health. I kind of missed my bachelor. I was like, okay, let's put those things together. And how it works for me, I actually work together with different foundations and education organizations. So I don't have a room here for myself where I just invite people. Other organizations are doing that for me. And so whenever we try to find topics that are interesting, I work together with these organizations, and they know their target group. They know, I mean, they also have a lot of other political speaker. So then they can give me some insights and say, okay, this topic would be interesting. I mean, currently, I recently had a weekend where we talked about Israel and the situation there. That's obviously like a very, very important topic when you just know a bit about politics at the moment. And so I try to get in contact with those organizations and figure out what they need. And yeah, I just hope to help spread the word, to help get information out there on a very not low level, but I think I can be quite good at making complex things look more easy.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of my passion and my mission, to give that to other people, to explain them how politics works.
Great. Can you share with us maybe the question which shocked you the most, that there was a lack of information?
It was actually, I hope she's not listening, my best friend. We used to go together to school, and she was sitting next to me, and at some point she's like, just what you said, she's like, who's our chancellor? That was like the question that stuck in my mind. It's like, that's not true, right? Like, why are you asking? It's just like, no, she's generally like, her parents are not that
Yeah.
interested into politics. And then I started to explain and give her a little bit of background info. But yeah, that was like the story that sticks in my mind.
It's funny, Valerie, because this is in coordination to a really, to also an experience I had where I was supported by a foundation during my studies. And for this foundation, I was later on in a jury where were checking out candidates. And there was a candidate who had a 1.0 in his A levels, who had a lot of sports things, where he was super good. And he was rhetorically brilliant. And it was exactly this question I asked him first. And I said, can you please share with us the name of the chancellor? And he said, then he said, Genscher? No, I think he's dead already. And it was really like, oh my God. And you could look at the members of the jury, they were all like, oh my God. So,
Yeah, it's so important to at least know a little bit, not all the info, not all the data, but to be a little bit involved. Yeah.
exactly. And when they said, I mean, you know that this is something which is really a ground information you should know. You know what does he say? He said, but we have Google, no matter what. I could have Googled it. And I said, it's not always good to have a substitute with you. He said, give me a reason why. So the discussion was really where I thought, okay, this is more than just I don't know her or don't know the counselor. It's about really the idea of having knowledge in yourself as a kind of archive, or have it all out. Have it also in a kind of cloud where you can get the information from, but there is none inside you. And I think it's important. I agree with you that you should have a kind of information, and because otherwise you can't work with discourses, and you can't have a really good you can't have a good statement about things, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, it's mostly also about critical thinking. I mean, that's what was most important to me and why I studied politics, because I had the feeling I came out of school. I mean, I used to go to school in Bavaria, very good school system and everything, but still, I had the feeling when I read the newspaper that I don't get it, and that I was lacking so many information. And that was really a motivation to study it, because I thought that can't be. I need to understand what's happening around me. I need to put the puzzle pieces together and to be critical about it, and not just believe everything that I see.
Yeah, and I think from this angle, if we look at your social engagement, it's much more than just doing something. It is really something where you put your engagement to the point where also like that you were active in the Malteser youth. And I think some have different ideas if they think of Maltesers. Some think about the van which is driving to get people from A to B, which are handicapped. So they more or less think about Malteser Hilfsdienst. Some others think about the foundation with a very traditional system. Can you maybe share a bit of information about Malteser Youth? What is your work there, or what are you doing there? And a little bit the idea behind?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a huge organization, as you said. So on the one hand, you have somehow this Order of Malta, then you have first aid. And so how I connected to the Malteser is through the Malteser Youth. They are not 100% independent. It's all very interconnected, but they are somehow independent. And so I used to go in my home city. There would be a session every week where young people would come together, learn about first aid, but also do a lot of playing and getting to know each other. And that's how I initially got to know Malteser. And over the time, I just took on more and more responsibilities. I can remember myself as a child, I was like, oh, don't want to do that, so many responsibilities. But over time, I grew into it and really started to, especially because I had such a nice childhood with them, really had the feeling like of giving back and making that also possible for others.
Great. This is a very nice attitude, I think, which is in you, that the things you were given, you like to give also to others, no? And I would hope that many more would think and do like that. You have also another side, which is very public noted, because you were a world champion in Kung Fu. And some might say, oh, why Kung Fu? Why not ballet, or maybe riding a horse, or maybe tennis? Why especially Kung Fu? And I remember that we talked about that, and you told me, oh, I started with ballet and I had to stay on one leg. And this is exactly the pose how I could start with Kung Fu. And I mean, after cinema movies, I think the question after what is Kung Fu is maybe not the biggest anymore. But I would like to go a little bit into it. So, I mean, were you put into a special category because of Kung Fu, that they said, oh, she's maybe somebody who we have to be careful with, or no? Was there something that you felt a change in the perception of others about you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I used to hear that a lot as a child, you know. Sometimes, most of the time from boys, we're like, oh, so I can't say anything anymore. So you're gonna hit me, right? So that was when I was younger. Over time, a lot of respect came with it.
Yeah.
When I moved to Munich when I was 14 to go to boarding school. There it changed a little bit. So it was more like, oh, wow, and that's what you did. But it definitely made something with you. I mean, also going to those talk shows, that's not so usual for a kid at school. So that would be like, okay, what is she doing there? But those were great experiences. I mean, who else can say, oh, when I was 11, I just went to a talk show and had a great time. So I think that really shaped the way I was, seeing myself and what I can do. And really getting the feeling there's like nothing that can stop me.
Great. This is and the last sentence you said, nothing that can stop me. I would like to go back to that. We haven't talked about that, but I mean, Kung Fu is not just a martial art category, right? Kung Fu has also some meditation in it, or also the idea of stay in yourself, stay tuned, stay strong, inspire you, love yourself. So a lot of that, what means you, I think, and what means or expresses your lifestyle. If we, I think he wants to share our talk, but he's not good at martial arts. No, Okay, he has to work on that. Um, would you say that, I mean, nowadays we're discussing sexual harassment against young women, against girls. Would you think that it would be something kind of good if, for example, in every school, every girl has to go through something? I mean, maybe not kung fu, maybe karate, judo, or something like this, which might help her in avoiding situations like this or be more powerful in that?
I mean, so on that one hand, I wouldn't urge anyone to say, yeah, you have to do it, this is your way. But I think, so at least from my experience, I can say that it helped me a lot. I mean, I
Yeah.
had a certain kind of confidence from a very young age because I started with 5 years. So
Wow.
there was really no room to be shy or to be insecure because
Right.
I started so early. And I had the feeling like when I moved to Munich, I mean, a big city, going to boarding school there, I was like, okay, whenever I would go home in the dark or something, I was never scared. I think I had a certain attitude. I was walking with my head held high. I was like, okay, nothing's going to happen to me. And I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but I have a feeling that this really makes something with you, and that
Yeah.
people who might take advantage of people who look a bit shy and insecure,
Yeah.
that this definitely helps when you have that kind of confidence. So I can recommend it to
Mhm.
everyone. We actually, when I was younger, we actually produced some kind of DVD, self-defense for young people, because I was like, oh,
Great.
this is so important. So we did the
Yeah.
DVD and try to, yeah, spread it so that other young
Wow.
people could also profit from it.
Wow, great. This is great. And I liked your sentences. I mean, we in the show always like to give also some hacks to other people. And I think you started already with giving hacks. Um, Kung Fu being a world championship means also that you have to be a strong mental health. That you have to have a strong mindset. Can you maybe share a few hacks with us, with the audience, what you can do or should do to stay strong, even in challenging times?
I mean, you already said it a bit. So part of the Kung Fu training, it was also a lot about meditation. I just
Mhm.
realized that a couple of years ago that we did that every training session, and now it's like this little bit of oh, everyone's meditating, but that this was a big factor in my childhood, and I'm coming back to that from time to time when I'm feeling I'm overwhelmed. It's just too much. So really like sit down,
Yeah.
calm down, really focus on what's important. So that's been helping me a lot. And I think the
Mhm.
other thing is actually, and that's a mindset thing. You can't just say, oh, you need that mindset, but having this
Mhm.
attitude of I can achieve anything
Yeah.
really helps me to overcome challenges. And I think, as I said, like I can't go around and spread mindsets, but that really comes from this sense of self-efficacy and really having the
Mhm.
feeling I set a goal and I can
Yeah.
reach it. And that's something that people can do. Set a goal, a SMART goal. So
Mhm.
this method it should be specific, measurable, achievable, and so on. And then really try to focus on it and achieve it. And that really gives you the sense of, oh, I can do it.
Great. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to have you here. We have to think if we should have you twice here, a second time, where we can talk further about it. Um, and I'm looking forward to talking further with you, maybe also about cooperation or something, because you're such a great mind. And it was a pleasure for me to having you here. Thank you so much. And yeah, so hope that you that you inspire many people around in the world with your idea of inspiration, which starts with you.
Thank you,
So
Annabelle, also for the great questions. I really enjoyed it.
thank you so much. So unfortunately, there comes now a commercial break. And after the commercial break, we will continue with the introduction of an inspiring book that we've selected for you. Thank you.